and welcome to the Pretty Twisted Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk all about my crafting. I am a knitter. I have a crochet hook and I sometimes use it. I sometimes crochet. I have a circular sock knitting machine, which I call Pinkie Pie, who I have been addicted to lately. I have lost a little bit of my hand knitting mojo, for reasons I'll explain in a little bit, but I have been wanting to do nothing but crank socks, and because of that, I have with me I think 6, but actually 8 pairs of finished socks, but 2 of them have been gifted to my husband, so this episode is going to be full of finished objects, and they're all socks. I've got some works in progress to share with you. Some shop news, and at the end, if you want to stick around, we'll do some life, and yeah, so let's just dive right in and get into the nitty-gritty, shall we? Okay guys, we are going to start off with all of these finished objects. Like I said, these were all cranked on my Erlbacher Speedster circular sock knitting machine, which I adore. I own a 64 slot cylinder with a matching slot ribber, and right now I have a 72 slot cylinder with ribber that I am borrowing from my friend Jake, and Erlbacher is sending me, I'm supposed to come tomorrow to test out a 48 slot cylinder, which you can do DK, and I've heard worsted weight. So that's very exciting because you can make mitts and hats and gloves and all kinds of things other than socks on this machine. Also a 56, both with matching ribbers, just to see. I'm sorry, I keep playing with my hair. It's in my face. I'm not even going to edit that out because whatever. To see if and when I can afford it, what size cylinder I might want to get. Anywho, these were made on a 64 slot cylinder, and these are roll top socks. So, you can see there's no ribbing, but they roll. And these remind me of roller skating and disco socks. This was a colorway I dyed when I was doing my self-striping sock club, which I had to sort of put on pause for a little while my grandma is here sick, and I'll talk about life and Mimi update later. But there's 2, and I'm so excited I showed these on Instagram, and I'm so excited to finally be showing these here so that I can wear them, because if I was a sock, these would probably be me. It is super funny because I was watching a Lefty Knitter podcast earlier today, and Aquila had knit this very colorful sweater, and John was like, "You look like the Reading Rainbow," and I was like, "Oh God." He's like, "That's hideous, Aquila. It's so ugly." And I was like, "It's kind of how I dress every day." It's okay. I still love you both. You know how crazy I am. But yay! I mean, just can you just so these don't glow in the dark, but the everything but the blue might under the black light a little bit, but they glow in the black light. So super fun socks, and this is on my Stardust base, which shows up so good on dark yarn. And this was called Laser Light Show because it's here's the night with all the stars, and then just the laser light. I don't know. I'm super excited about these socks. So, pair number 1. I need to get better at Ravelry. I don't know how to add my yarn as a yarn dyer to Ravelry. I know you can do that, but this would probably also require me to, I don't know, keep up on my project pages. Probably not gonna happen. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm on some socials, but it's kind of hard to keep up just with YouTube and Instagram. So really, I'm only active on Instagram, and I can be found at Pretty Twisted Yarns, where I'm ridiculous, and it's super fun. You should come check me out. Give me a follow. I would love to see you there. It's a super fun time. I just did a grunge collection. So I went through so many phases in my life. And I was definitely a Doc Martin, flannel wearing, mosh pit going chick. And all of these, I haven't sample knit all of the colorways yet. But what I have sampled, I'll show you. And I'll show you all the colorways in a little bit. But these are some of my favorite. This is Interstate Love Song, obviously by STP. And if I even have to explain to you who STP is, then I just don't even know. I'm just kidding. It's Stone Temple Pilots. And this one, I did kind of look at the album cover. And, oh gosh, let me see if I can get these even closer. I wanted to capture, because there's so much going on this album cover, that I didn't want to just get mud. And there was a lot of white and blue, and there were some oranges and little speckles. So as far as I haven't done a whole lot of dyeing where I try to capture a picture. My brain doesn't always work that way. I'll usually get something in my head and be like, oh, I have to put that on yarn. These are some of my absolute freaking favorite. This is Heart-Shaped Box by Nirvana, inspired. The album is In Utero, and I looked at the album, so it's very loosely based on the album. There was much more cream and yellow and things going on in the album, which I captured a little bit, but I wanted it to be that a little bit less of my neon style and more of that moody, grungy kind of style. So here's Heart-Shaped Box, and how this particular pair knit up on my 64 slot cylinder. Now this could do something completely different on a different size needle or cylinder, but you can kind of see, if you look at In Utero, the sort of yellow and creamy colors that come out with just that dark, my dark black soul. So Heart-Shaped Box, oh my gosh, can you even, for a pair of Valentine's Day socks. Oh, so good. So good. I'll show you what I have, because this collection for sure didn't sell out by any means. And I have some ready to ship, but I did also do some dyed to order. So if you wanted Heart-Shaped Box on Stardust, but I didn't have it, those are, and I'll tell you why. Nothing's late yet. I think I put a 4 to 6 week. Nothing's late yet, but I'll tell you why it's coming up on that 6 week period in a little bit. And it has to do with good news, but then also something going on. And I'll talk about that in life to try to keep on track. Because I'm trying to do this organization thing. I don't know, because messy's kind of fun. But Heart-Shaped Box. Then my husband Dave, he's pretty tall. He's 6 feet tall, which isn't enormous or anything, but he has runner's feet. His footprint in the sand is toes and the teeniest, tiniest little side stripe, and then a big old heel. I have not, until this point, been able to make this man socks he can wear comfortably on my 64. So I got the 72 from Jake, and I was still having issues with like the heel, and he's very sensitive. He doesn't like his socks too long or tight, like on his toes, right? So this colorway is called Outshined by Soundgarden, of course. And I was finally able to make him some socks that fit him quite well. I did a hung hem. He's 6 feet tall, so I think this is like a 30 round leg, which fit him quite well. Dude, look how deep and round this heel is. Now normally when you would do a heel, you would use half of the stitches, correct? Right? So if you're doing you're knitting a 64 stitch sock, you would do 32 stitches, say if you were doing like a short row heel. I did +6 on both sides, so plus 12 stitches to make this heel this deep, which is something really cool you can do on your machine. I suppose you could do that with hand knitting as well, but I also rounded the heel so that it and honestly, I think that looks like really nice and professional. Probably not everybody could wear such a wide heel, but then the toe too, because like I said, he doesn't like anything tight on his toes. I did the same exact thing, except for you can't do a deep toe, but I did them rounded. And now he's going to be super excited to wear these because he got a new full-time job. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but we're very excited. So hopefully these will keep him warm because he is going to be working in a very cold area of where he's going to be working. So Outshined for my hubs. He has a pair on right now that I tried to make him in some Yarnable, and like they fit him okay. He's going to wear them around the house, but they don't fit him well in shoes. So they're just house socks for him right now. This is another pair that fit him, but not as well. Now this yarn is called Rainbow. It is by a company called, it's called Active, and it's by Super Garnier. I'll leave a link down below where you can buy this. I get it at CSM Supplies. It comes on a cone, and it is nice workhorse yarn. Not merino, but I mean, it's not, I have very sensitive skin. Sometimes the merino even itches me a little tiny bit, so I couldn't wear this, I don't think, as a sock, but these fit him, and he likes the rainbow, and this was kind of my practice, like, okay, does this heel work? You know, does this many foot rounds work? Does this toe work? So this was kind of my practice before I used, like, you know, good fancy yarn. And there's two. Because let me just tell you something. With a circular sock machine, you can knit a sock in like a night. Like I've cranked, probably, if I really didn't have anything much to do, 2 or 3 pair, maybe not Kitchener all the toes, in like a day. It's crazy awesome is what it is. There may be some other finished objects, but nothing really worth noting at this point. But this is going to be my last finished object, and then I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing. Super fun. I finished my Cozy Advent, my Cozy Knitter Advent 2022 socks. Woohoo! Yay! So here's, let me just kind of holding them together, but let me get up so you can see these really, really well. This is my first year doing the Cozy Knitter, and I did the Cold Brew pattern by Allison from Lofty Loops. Very fun. It just gives the self-striping just a little bit of extra festive fun. And it came with a mini, which was 30 grams. So I split that into two 15-gram balls to make sure I was able to get heels, toes, and cuffs. And I did an afterthought heel. And I'm going to talk about sock tubes and afterthought heels in just a little bit. But yay! So these are not getting worn. I have like a box of socks that are in rotation, a box of brand new socks, and a box of Christmas socks that I knit this year that are not going to be worn until next year. Sadly, I have not finished my Freckled Whimsy socks, and I love them so much. Their colors are beautiful, and I'll finish them. But like I said, my hand knitting mojo, and I'll tell you why in a little bit, has kind of waned. I have a few more just teensy weensy finished objects. They're kind of funny, but because like I said, my friend Jake from Dogstar Knits, go give him a follow on Instagram, Dogstar Knits, lent me so generously his 72 slot cylinder, but I didn't have a bonnet. How did I make this bonnet? Did he send me a bonnet? I don't know, but I made a bonnet. And I made it out of some of my yarn that was just kind of like a dye dump sort of gradient. And I love, let me see if you can see these up close, these rings for casting on. And I did a poll on Instagram, and y'all said you wanted to see a little bit more of my sock machine, so maybe I'll do some of that. Show you just, I am no expert, but it's always fun to learn with somebody else who's learning and making mistakes, and then, oh, okay, once you know not to make that mistake, right, now you know how to do it. But, so, like, I'm pretty proud of this because putting these in is a little bit scary because you can really jam your machine up. So once and I think it's really cute that he thinks he's getting it back. I'm just kidding. He's getting it back. So I may or may not get a 72 slot cylinder, but either way, this is going back with Jake, just like as a thank you. And I might make him a couple more of those. I also made some ball sacks. Can we all say it together real quick? Ball sacks. I pull from the outside. I am not an inside, middle of the skein kind of girl. I don't like yarn barf. I don't know, whatever. But Andy made me one. I don't have it here, and it is like nice. It was really nice. It was made out of my yarn. And this might be too long, I'm not sure, but this was my very first attempt at what is called, I think I need to fix this where this camera's maybe a little bit closer, but Juana's 1x1 selvage, which kind of is like a tubular selvage. This is a hot mess. It's not a super hot mess. It's together. It's just, this was my first attempt. All right, so anything you try for the first time is not going to be your best go. But, I mean, I didn't drop any stitches. I did the cast off that my friend Andy the Knittress told me to do. I have a discount code for you, and I can never remember exactly what it is, so check the description box down below because that is where all the show notes and anything that I can think of will be. And if it's not, hit me up, yo. Hit me up on Instagram, DM me. I'm not that big, or, I don't get like too flooded. I try to keep up really well with my Instagram messages. You can always email me at prettytwistedyarns@yahoo.com. smoke signals work, whatever. And then this was left over from a Yarnable one, and it's a little mini ball sack. This is, you know, for guys with big trucks. It's mini ball sacks. So, I don't know if they're too long, or like if I haven't actually put a ball in my ball sacks yet. But those are those. Those are all my finished objects, my friends. We are now going to be moving on to what am I wearing? What am I wearing? Y'all. Okay, listen. First of all, there's about 5 days a year when I can wear my knitwear, which is why I knit a lot of socks, because you can wear them inside. It has been cold. The low, right now it's 50, and it's like 7:36 in the evening, which isn't bad, whatever. But the mornings, right before, there's frost. Like my husband this morning at 7 a.m., no, well, it was 6:30, had to defrost with the ice scraper off of the windshield. And the other morning, it was super early, and I had to get milk for my grandma's breakfast. And so I had to go early, and it was 32 degrees outside, and I was like, I'm wearing all my knitwear, and I'm going to look like a crazy person. But listen, when you got... People are like, wearing shoes. I mean, we're in the coldest part of Florida, like Central Florida. So we're not like Miami or like where it's super hot, but it does get colder here than other places in Florida. So I have like a cabled hat on, these crazy fingerless mitts. This was one of the very first colorways that I ever dyed, and I made these fingerless mitts. And I wear them every year, like 3 times. I didn't have my, I'm under here, this is gonna, I'm sorry about your redness. I have my, carved pullover on. And I don't even care because it's Halloween 365. Am I right? Yeah, I am. You guys, okay. I did my first Advent, and, you know, it's always kind of nerve-wracking because you don't know how well things are going to be received. You don't know what people expect. It's a surprise, so like, ooh, it's kind of scary, right? So, I don't think she minds her name being said on here, and I don't think she has a YouTube channel, but Ambi Marine Knits on Instagram bought my Advent. She bought both skeins because I had an option of a... Crap, I should have brought those socks over. I'll show them next episode. I had the option of getting day 25, either a main skein with a mini or a self-striping with a mini. Not 24 stripes or anything, just like 4 color self-striping. It was like a really pretty, like, not neon green, but like Grinch green, white, and then like a red, but kind of a pink red, white, and then I think it was a pink mini. I don't remember. Anyway, okay. She buys my Advent. She buys both. Her and Andy both bought both day 25. They wanted the variegated and the self-striping. She knits me, and I'm going to say this wrong, but I'll link it below. I think it's the Calico Quilt Shawl. She buys my Advent, knits me my Advent in a shawl, and sends it to me. I cried. I like happy cried. Like, dude, what? This thing, because, okay, here's the thing. She heard me say, I had held one for me, and somebody toward the end of like October really, really, really wanted one, and I was like, I look at my yarn all day, every day, all day long. Like, so I sold mine. And she knew that. So she knew, like, I wasn't going to have it to open. And this year, you guys, March, it's going pre-sale, and I'm going hard. This year's going to be amazing. But anyway, she knit me this. Oh, my God. Let me back up and... Because she's like, you have to see your Advent all together, and, like, you have to wear it. I had fun knitting it. I just couldn't believe somebody would do this. Like, and I'm not even really sure, because, like I said, I didn't keep one, if it was the days were, like, kept up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if this was day 1, 2, 3, 4. It might have been. So this is a triangular shawl. Oh, hi. And, I mean, she used some of the self-striping as the border, an I-cord border. This was the full skein. It was called Neon Trees. This was the full skein option, and I was so proud of this because it just looks like a Christmas tree. I have worn this around my house. I've worn this every single day since she sent it to me, and I don't remember when she sent it to me. It was weeks ago, and I love the shape. I love the the scrappiness of it. I like to put it on when my husband is like, you're having a hot flash and it's not even hot, or I'm having because I get like cold flashes, and it's just like, oh my God, like, oh, my heart. Can you even? Is that not like the raddest thing ever? And so she wrote me a note, and that's personal, so I'm not going to read it, but I sent her a little note back. It was really sweet. Happy Mail. I also got, because I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm kind of a big deal. I'm just kidding, I'm not. Dude, look who sent me a freaking Christmas card. Yeah, that's Mesa Skeins. I'm not going to show you the other side because, like, there's addresses on it, but I promise you it says Teresa Cameron Pretty Twisted Yarns. I feel bad because I don't do Christmas cards. I'm not good at it. But flippin' Macy sent me a Christmas card. Like, we're friends. Like, I could have never imagined in my whole entire life. My husband's humming and hawing over there. He probably wants me to hurry up, but I got tea, and I got a really cute card, and I'm not going to read it because it's just for me, but it's like, maybe I'll read it. Thank you for your love and support this year. Merry Christmas. Stay warm. Love, Macy. I mean, I can't. Like, I need to do that next year, I think, for my customers. That was just rad. I just have a lot going on. Like, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I also got from Miss Andy the Knittress. Again, I do have a discount code, and I will leave it below because I can't remember what it is. It's like Pretty Knotty. Like, we combined our names, and I can never remember how we did that. But these came on my lever back, which is my favorite. And I think I ordered the pink, and she sent me another one. She sent me a red one, which was so, so sweet. Because I love skulls. Like, I don't know if you've noticed my kick-ass logo that Haley from Lock Knits made. But it's pretty kick-ass. And it has skulls. So, I got a little pink skull. Let me see if I can do this. Little pink skull. And she sent me a little red skull. Because I am a red, burgundy, purple kind of girl. And these are my most favorite. The lever backs. Because they don't pull on your stitches as much. I have something else to show you. I showed you this already, I think. But it might have been on Vlogmas. Angel from the Scrappy Angel. I met her at Rhinebeck. It was very exciting. We did a swap. I lagged really bad and got her yarn way after she got me my bag, but it's a peekaboo bag. And look at it, it has gingerbread kittens. So I'll link her shop below as well. This bag is so cute. The little pull tab has an angel on it, and it's also a stitch marker. It can come off if you want it to. So I know it's still Christmassy, but I don't care. I do what I want. It's gonna stay right there all year. I don't care. We're gonna move on now. We're gonna move on to hose. I have a hoe. Let's check her out. Okay. So like I said, since the day I got Pinkie Pie, who is my circular sock machine, I got Pinkie Pie August 10th, 2021. So I have had Pinkie Pie for about a year and a half. And I went hard. Like I made all the mistakes because that's how I learn. The first thing I did wrong was everyone was like, don't mess with any of the settings. And I was like, what does this do? And I messed up all the settings. I don't know why I do these things, but I did. Anyways, I got it back working, and I learned how to like make a sock, which doesn't sound like that big a deal, right? It's a sock knitting machine, but there's a learning curve. It does help to know sock anatomy and how to knit a sock, hand knit. It definitely helps, but there's a lot that goes into it. It's like knowing how to hand sew and then getting like the bougiest of sewing machines. There's a lot going on, right? So anyways, I would still say I'm probably like an adventurous beginner because I still make a lot of mistakes, but I'll try hard things even if I mess up. And this isn't really a hard thing, but I made a cool thing. When I very first got my circular sock machine, my friend Georgianne, who is Stitching Plaza, bought me this book, CSM Selvages by Kathy Rowletter, and it's 30 ways to start your cuff down sock or other CSM projects. So this has the roll top, a pattern in it, different ones, and I follow Amy the Sock Maker on YouTube, and she was making a 3x1 scalloped ribbed sock, and I thought it looked really pretty. If you want this book, you just email her, and I'll leave her email down below, and she'll send it to you. It's not like something you can order online. But that's what it looks like. It's very frilly at the top. It doesn't have like a 1x1 ribbing that goes into a 3x1 ribbing. It starts with a 3x1 ribbing. And I used... yeah, this needs to be closer next time. I used a Yarnable colorway. Laugh S'more, Worry Less.
Yes, in orientation 27.
And I did a 3x1. Scallop the edge sock. Look at that ribbing. It's so nice. In this colorway, I can't even. And I do like a +2 deep heel, so not a very deep heel, and I don't have a very long foot, so this sock is for me. This is my hoe. Hoping to finish the second one maybe tonight, and then I'll have like another pair of finished socks. I do have a couple more things, and they are whips. So on my circular sock machine, I made a snowman, but because it's Florida, he melted. I'm just kidding. I'm waiting for the polyfill or the rice. I don't know. I need to put, this is his bum, and it's kind of square like I need to get like a old sock or something and put either some, not polyfill, but like the pellets or some rice or something, and then stuff him or her, I don't know, and then embroider the face, the nose, and then I made this faux I-cord on my machine. You can make real I-cord, but it's basically flat fabric, but because it's stuck in it, it rolls, so it just looks like I-cord. So I'll have a snowman for next year. I'm super excited. And then the last whip I have is this alien mushroom. I'm just kidding. It's not an alien mushroom. If you remember, if you watched Vlogmas, I was making this amigurumi kitty cat, for my youngest daughter, Caitlin. And it was a kit. And one of the instructions read very strange, and I'm not a very experienced crocheter, so I was like, what? It sounded to me like you increased 4 stitches from 1 stitch. What it meant was increase the next 4 stitches. But that's not how it worded. So anyways, I went to Knit Night, and there is a lady there who is like a crochet genius. She crocheted a wedding dress. So she was kind enough to help me. And I have now got a little snout. So I'm going to pin it on there and sew it on. And then all I've got to do is embroider the whiskers. I got the nose on. I just have to do this little part, the ears. So this will be done. Her birthday is in April, so I'm thinking that will be done. And I am using a beautiful Odyssey crochet hook by Furls. And this is just like a little grip that a local artist makes. And I got this from my local yarn shop, Pan Banged Knits, as well as the kit, as well as the basket. And the basket is amazing. The bottom is magnetic, so your little like metal stitch holders and stuff like that will stick to it. It has a little like yarn guide, so you can tension your yarn. This is pretty big, and I'm addicted to these baskets. I think I have the twinsy basket, this one, a little one, and maybe one other. But I will also link Pan Banged Knits down below. That's my local yarn shop. They also carry my yarn. So if you are looking for like a colorway that isn't in my shop ready to ship, check Pan Bang, because they've got some pretty twisted yarns. Just saying. I don't know all exactly what they have, but they do have some ready to ship stuff, and they ship worldwide, which is amazing. That's all the makes I have. If all you were here was for the knitting, I thank you so much for being here. If you like this kind of content and you'd like to see more of it, please consider subscribing to my channel. It means more to me than you know. It helps YouTube know that people like this. It helps push it out into the world and attract more crazy to the crazy. And if you are already a subscriber, thank you so much. This is the point of my podcast where I'm going to be talking about shop news. So if you're not here for that, I bid you adieu, and I will see you hopefully next week. I'm going to try to really be good and do a podcast once or twice a month. First, I'm going to show you what I have in stock ready to ship. If you're waiting for a colorway, it's because I don't have that color on that base, and it is either drying, being dyed, and going to be dried, and those are all going out very, very soon. Thank you for your patience. I'll tell you why it's taken a little bit longer in just a minute. But first, the grunge collection. So, this one has an interesting story behind it. If you know the band Alice in Chains, you might know the song Rooster and like what it's actually about. Because it's not about a rooster. It's about his dad. The lead singer was homeless for a while and was staying with... God, I looked it up on Wikipedia. I should have wrote it all down. But anyway, he was staying with another grunge legend for a while, and his father was in the army and came back with very bad PTSD. And it was a very, I guess, toxic family environment. So they left him and went and lived with their grandma. And anyways, one night in the room of this other grunge legend that he had been staying with, rather than coming to this, he kept thinking about his father. And rather than coming to it in a sense of bitterness, he thought about what it must have been like for his father to be in the Vietnam War. The lyric in the song that inspired this colorway, and he says, "Army green was no safe bet. Eyes in stinging sweat, mosquito death." Because, like, could you even imagine, right? So, like, it doesn't look like a rooster at all. So, this is on my Posh DK. So, this is actually unclaimed. This is in my shop, ready to ship. And by the time you see this, I will have updated everything that is ready to ship. There's going to be some changes coming to Pretty Twisted Yarns. Again, I'll tell you why in a moment. But for now, that is in my shop, ready to ship. This is another colorway that you saw a pair of socks knit out of called Outshined. And the inspiration for this colorway by Soundgarden, Outshined, the song, if you watch the video, the whole thing looks like you are watching it through orange or yellow colored glasses, which is very interesting. And for me, with the name Outshined, it would be very easy to do like, something like that. So, and I already have a colorway called Black Hole Sun, and it doesn't go with like the grunge, like moodiness at all. So I decided to do something different. You guys, so 2 Poshes, which is my DK base in stock. Boop. Do I have any other Posh in stock? Yes, I do. I have Interstate Love Song on Posh DK. Perfect time of year for DK socks, guys. I mean, you might just want to get all 3. I'm just saying. Scrappy socks. A color that I haven't showed you at all yet, because I still need to knit it up, that is also on Posh DK, is called Even Flow. You have to know who that's by. Pearl Jam. That was a hard one. How do you pick, like, the best Pearl Jam song? Anyways, I went with Even Flow. And if you look at the, not the cover of the album, but the art cover, or the art for the song, it's very purpley and pinky and gray. I can't wait to see how this knits up. So this is Even Flow, inspired after Pearl Jam. And it's kind of pinky, orange, and then there's like a bluey. This is coming out way more blue than it's much more purple than that. And then it's like kind of fades into like a lighter purple and a lighter blue with some gray. So that's also on Posh. I think that's all my DK. Yes. So I also have Even Flow on Lavish, which is my 8515 Superwash Merino Nylon. Great for socks, super duper soft. I have 2 of those in my shop. I have Interstate Love Song on Lavish, which would be a beautiful pair of socks, which I showed you how those knit up in socks. And I have, oh God, I love this so much. I have Outshined on Stardust. I mean, if this one doesn't sell soon, I'm gonna snag it. These are gonna go fast, guys. These are all in stock. So that's the grunge collection. And then I'm gonna show you everything else that is left over from holiday time, fall, that didn't sell, that's in stock. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you everything else that's ready to ship. Some of these are on my Instagram. So if you want to see like how they would knit up into a sock, head over to my Instagram, Pretty Twisted Yarns, at Pretty Twisted Yarns, and you will see most of these knit up into socks. I have this color I love so much. It's called Jazz Hands. It just has like every stinking color in the rainbow. So I have 3 of these on my Lavish, which is my merino nylon sock base. 3 of these guys. These will probably not be repeated because, like I said, there's going to be some changes coming to Pretty Twisted Yarns. So you guys grab these quick. And I'm going to say this now because I was waiting, for those of you that have hung out this long. You can go onto my website and use podcast10 as a coupon code to receive 10% off your entire order. And most of these that I'm showing you now are not going to be repeated. I have a Jazz Hands on Stardust also, which is absolutely beautiful. And if they are repeated, I don't know when, because my life is so, I don't know what's happening from day to day. So I don't know what will be. I have, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Why is this still here? You guys gotta go grab these. Please help me. Please help me get this yarn out so that I can do some new things and bring some new things to the shop. Podcast 10. I appreciate you. I love you. Podcast 10. Save 10% off your entire order. Podcast 10. I'll put it right here. Podcast 10. Okay, so I have a speckled colorway. This one is called a Retrospect. Oh, that's getting blown out. It just has all the speckles. But what's really cool and what I love about this colorway is it's got purple and spearmint and blue, but then it also has some orange. I'm about to crank a sample of this up too. I think I've cranked Retrospect before. This was one of the first colorways I ever dyed, so it's changed just a little bit because my dye style has changed. So I have one of these on Lavish. Go get it, because it's not going to last long. And I have one on Stardust. So see how Stardust, it's still pretty. It just shows up a lot better on dark bases. I have one skein of Intergalactic ready to ship on my Lavish base. And like I said, if you did a pre-order or a digest order, or where it said 1 to 2 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks or whatever, those are all coming. This is just all what's left over that didn't get sold. I have one skein of No Sleep Till Rhinebeck. This is a colorway I dyed, inspired by the colors that I saw driving home from Rhinebeck with John and Aquila. Absolutely beautiful fall colors. Don't know. Probably won't be repeating any of these again. Like I said that 10 times. This is Stop Whining. It is a beautiful, beautiful wine color, and on Stardust, is it just absolutely stunning. And my Lorax sparkle is a ply into the yarn, so it's never gonna like work itself out. Sometimes people find Lorax itchy or scratchy. My merino is 19.5 microns, which means it is buttered kittens soft. So I'm pretty sensitive, and I've not had any issues at all. I haven't used my Stellina in a while because everyone seems to prefer the Lorax, but I haven't had a problem with either. And then this is the Snazberries Taste Like Snazberries, which is a much more red, like maybe Christmassy red, but super beautiful on Sparkle. Podcast 10. Please help me make room. Please help me make room in my house, you guys. I have stuff coming up that I need to make a lot of room in my house for things that are going to be happening. Okay. Oh, yeah. I have, I don't know if I even wrote this recipe down, but this is called Light My Fire. I love the Doors. It's like, come on, baby, light my fire. And so it's just neon and peach and red and speckles and fiery. I have one on Lavish, and I have one on Stardust. I love it on Stardust so much because it just looks like fire. So let's light my fire. Oh! I just found I have two. I have two Light My Fire on Lavish. Two. Two of them. And then the last couple things that I have a color I'm very proud of. I made it using primary colors. So this is called Huntress. It is just a beautiful hunter green. And that's how it looks on Stardust. I mean, it's just beautiful. I love it so, so much. It's capturing pretty true to color, but you do like kind of get this nuance of like yellow and blue. Like you can kind of tell that it's not, while it looks solid, it is tonal. And I also have one on Lavish. I also have, I cannot believe nobody bought this. And if nobody buys this, I am going to make myself a pair of socks. Do you remember Jinx Yarns? Jinx Yarns, she unfortunately no longer dyes yarn. I used like a little bit of one of her skeins, and I cranked the rest of it into a sock tube. So I priced it based on the weight of how much yarn is here, because there's definitely enough here to make a pair of socks. You guys, this is her self-striping, and she didn't do self-striping all the time. Her self-striping colorway called Boo on her sparkle base, which is a 5% Stellina. I realize it's not Halloween time. Do I look like I care it's not Halloween time? I do not. I think you should go buy this right now. I'm just saying. Like that's definitely enough. You could either pull some yarn from, one end to use for heels, toes, and cuffs, or you could use a mini that you might have in your stash. That's all I have. Moving along. let's talk about stuff. That's all the yarn content I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll leave all the details in the description box down below, and I will see you next time. If you would like to stick around for some life and Mimi update, that's what we're going to do now. So, as many of you know, if you've been following me for a while, my grandmother Mimi, we call her Mimi, she lives with us. She is elderly and was recently put on home hospice. She has more than one terminal illness which will not get better, hence hospice. I don't think a lot of people know what hospice is. I was under the impression hospice was like you had 2 days to live, 1 day to live, right? It's not. It has been wonderful. They send people out to bathe her. We don't have to take her to appointments anymore because we couldn't. I mean, she can't walk. She's blind. She can't hear. Anyways, a nurse practitioner comes out. Her medication is delivered. Like, we don't have to do a lot. However, I have to do nursey stuff. Let's just put it at that. Because I don't want to be gross. But nursey stuff. In the last week, it's been a week, you guys. I didn't sleep for like 3 days. If this triggers anyone, maybe turn off, okay? She flooded her bed. And we called and they decided to put a catheter in. And that was fine. And they said she can get up, they showed me what to do. And they said she can get up. We'll train you on how to do everything. And she got up and she went to her chair and there was blood in her bag. And so I called and they came. She didn't have any pain, but it was blood. So they put her on an antibiotic, but she can't get out of bed. So she is officially bedridden. Now, my husband just got a full-time job, and I could not be more proud because we have been through, as a family, so much. Like, again, I'm sorry if this is triggering. Still recovering from 2020 financially. We sunk every penny we had into, let's get Teresa a beauty business. Let's spend, invest in yourself. You won't be sorry. You will be when 2 weeks after everything shuts down and the world ends. Anyway, this is how I'm putting my life back together, is dyeing yarn. What's hard is we weren't making ends quite meet, and my husband started helping me full-time, which was wonderful because my neck and my back and everything didn't hurt as much. But that doesn't necessarily mean an automatic increase in sales. So, ends just weren't meeting. So, he went and he got a full-time job at Sam's Club, and I am the proudest wife I could possibly be. He started orientation. It is full-time. From I don't know if I should say hours that he works. Probably not. But it's closing. And we've been timing how long it takes me to do my grandmother's catheter care, BM care, bed baths, cooking meals, grocery shopping. And y'all know I don't leave the house because I have a little bit of PTSD. But since Rhinebeck, I have been. Everything happens for a reason, right? I've been leaving the house little by little by little, so it's getting easier and easier. But I haven't been without my husband since 2020. And he's going to be gone for, if he works like my daughter does at Sam's, 40 to 50 hours a week. So I have my 10-year-old and my grandma. And we timed how much time I spend caring for her, and it's 6 to 8 hours a day. that makes it really hard to dye enough yarn to live on. I'll just be honest. So on his days off, we're going to dye yarn. I'm going to dye what I dye. They may or may not be repeatable. And if they sell, they sell. If they don't, they don't. I'm going to start offering some more services. Don't worry. I'm still dyeing yarn, okay? And when my grandma passes, which will happen, I'm going full force yarn dyeing. Okay? Pretty Twisted is going nowhere. I'm doing tutorials. Part 2 of the sock tube tutorial will be coming out later this week. But I'm going to start offering more services in my shop. Sock tubes. So things that you can buy. Next episode, I'll have more examples where it's like a 20 round 1x1 cuff, a leg, a heel, and then, the foot really long, and you just pick up and knit the toe. Full socks. Socks that just have the ribbing, because who wants to knit ribbing? And a tube, and you cut in the heel and the toe. So a couple different options. And I think one of the reasons I lost my hand knitting mojo, my little cozy spot where I hand knit is sort of on the other side of the house. And, when you have your project all on your lap and all these things around you, and I can't really hear my grandma from that side of the house, but if I do, even though she can usually wait or whatever, it's a lot harder to, make sure your stitches don't drop and put your project aside and secure it and get up off the couch and run to the other side of the house, where my sock knitting machine is much closer to the kitchen, which is closer to her room. So if she calls me and I'm cranking, I have a counterweight, so I can just stop and get up and walk away and go help her. So I think that's why my hand knitting mojo has kind of waned a little bit, and hopefully it'll come back. Usually when this happens, it's because I get into another craft and then I'll go back to hand knitting. Knitting's never going to go anywhere for me, but there's not going to be quite as much yarn, and when there is, it's probably going to be one of a kind, and it will be limited quantities. But they'll be more frequent. I think I'll probably do what did we dye this week? And maybe I think it would be really fun to film what I'm dyeing. Sort of like ChemKnit style, only not quite as smart. But I'm doing this is why, and maybe it's a failure and this is why, or it came out amazing and this is why, and here's the yarn, and if you'd like it, it's in my shop. So we'll see. But I do also plan on doing more tutorials and showing my sock machine more. So I hope that you guys stick with me and send out prayers and good wishes. We really have no idea. We have no idea. We've been being told for years that she had terminal illness, and but she's just getting worse and worse and worse. So anyhow, it was really hard to record this podcast, to be honest, because I'm very sad. And it was I don't want to let Pretty Twisted not make it. She's eventually going to pass, and I hope it's peacefully. We've kept her at home this long, so that we don't want to send her to a home. But if you guys can stick with me, there'll be a lot more yarn. There'll be a lot more years, and I really appreciate every single one of you for all of your kindness, love, thoughts, prayers, all of it. And everybody kind of just do a hurrah for Dave. He doesn't really like to be praised for anything, but I'm really proud of him. So watch Instagram. I'll also try to be sending out more email letters. Like I said, I spend 6 to 8 hours with my grandma caring for her, so that's a full-time job. So it is a little bit hard to stay on top, but I'm trying really hard to stay on top of letting you guys know what's going on, okay? If you have any questions, please email me, but follow me on Instagram for the most up-to-date Pretty Twisted Yarns shenanigans. There will still be yarn dyeing. But there will be some other things too, which I think will just be really fun. And I can't wait for what 2023 holds, because even though, you know, sometimes life sucks and you just want to scream and cry into a pillow, you gotta just keep on keeping on. Like, I can't just not work. Right? And like, my husband got a job. So like, this is all happening. We're gonna make it. We're keeping our house. And I'm real with you guys. Like, that was really hard for me, you guys. Like, hey, help me. We need to pay our mortgage. We worked it out. We're keeping our house. My house is my studio. So just thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to try to really make much more of a presence here as often as I can on YouTube, as well as Instagram. You know, take care of yourselves and each other. Until we see each other next time, peace out. Bye.